Hello, darlings. Hello, love. Sorry I'm late for brunch. Hello. Hello, you gorgeous creatures. Hello, you beautiful, gorgeous spirits. Hello. See, we've got quite a number of people from Facebook here. Hello, loves. Hello. I'm putting my sockies on. Yes. I am well. How is everybody out there in YouTube land? How is everybody there in Facebook? Hello to my X people. Hello, if you're watching from X. Great to see you. Wow, just trying to get this nice and organized. Got to straighten out my throat here. All right. Am I missing anything? Hold on, I got to get a little bit more organized here. I don't know where I put something. Never mind. All right, don't worry about it. How is everybody? I see some good questions are coming in. Hi, Tarot Task Backwards. Good to see you here. Yeah, we're just going to hang out. We're going to have some brunch. We're going to answer everybody's questions. I believe that we are... let's see what's going on here. I got to switch. Give me a second, you guys. I got to get a little organized here while people find the stream. Yes. I'm getting over that horrible bug. You guys know about this bug that was going around? Absolutely dreadful, dreadful, dreadful. I went to what am I trying to say here? Yeah. All right. I'm trying to get our fundraiser started. We, as many of you know, we raise funds for various different charities, and for the month, excuse me, of March, we are raising money for AmericanForce.org. And of course, 100% of your donations go to the charity. YouTube doesn't do anything, it just collects. It's just a great way to donate our Sundays. We like to donate the profits from the Sunday show to charity. So that's just something that you can all be a part of if you are having fun and you'd like to donate to AmericanForest.org. Yeah, it's a great organization. I believe for every $1 donated, a tree is planted. Unless they've changed that, but I don't think they have. So not just planting trees, but forest management. And yeah, so we like to do that. I'm trying to find our book of the month for the Book of the Month Club. We, of course, will be interviewing, I believe it's March 24th. March 24th, we'll be interviewing our author. I keep it by my bed because I read at night in bed before I go to sleep. I read about 15, 20 minutes usually. It's kind of, I don't think it's good to be just addicted to social media. I do a lot of work on social media for my job, but I don't really think it's good, like, at night before you go to bed. I don't think it's really healthy. So, I think a better thing to do is to, read a good book. So, the book of the month is is I'm sorry about the cough. This is not allergies. I have a actual cold I'm getting over, and, no bueno if you did get the norovirus. It's, like, going around right now. I did catch it. They say 1 to 3 days. Bull crap. It's been over a week, and I still feel not that great. I mean, I feel about 90% better, but I'm the last part of this bug is that you start to get a little bit of a cough. But anyway, The Kingsman's Gold, an A.L. Stoneman investigation written by C.E. Flores. This is an interesting character. A.L. Stoneman is an empath and professional remote viewer, HCRV, right? We love it. And so he's using his skills as an empath and medium to solve crimes. Absolutely love this book. And it's funny, it's smart, I just like it. You know what I also like about this? The author is a woman, and I like the fact that she can write male dialogue. Like she can get down and gritty. She can get down and gritty with those cowboys. So yeah, yeah, there's a lot of good stuff, and I don't know how she wrote this. Like she must have, on some level, she must have been channeling these folks because she must have really done her homework because she really captures you feel this is for me the sign that you're a good writer. You feel like you're in 1875. You feel that when is this? Does it take place around what was the time period, or is it earlier than that? But I really love books that will pull me in so that I feel like I'm there. I'm in the Rio de Janeiro, I'm in the Rio Grande. I mean, like I'm seeing the churches being built. I'm smelling the tortillas. I'm seeing the gringos coming in. I'm seeing the fights. I'm seeing people hiding their gold. What I loved about this book is also that I feel so transformed by it. I say, "Oh my God, I'm there." Like I really feel like I'm there. So, again, I can't say enough about C.E. Flores. Great writer, lots of laughs, lots of intensity, and a lot to ponder as well. So she'll be hopefully in our studios I believe it's March 24th. Will be that interview. Yes, it's March 24th in our studios, Taco Tuesday, and we very much look forward to meeting her and then we will announce our book of the month for the month of April, which we are apt to do. So if you're an independent writer and you would like to be considered selected for our book of the month club, think about sending your books to me, Dr. Whimsy Anderson, care of Dr. Whimsy Anderson, 1819 Southwest 5th Avenue, Suite 116, Portland, Oregon, 97201. And who knows, maybe your book will be selected for Taco Tuesdays. Remember that it takes usually about a year from the time of submission to the time your book is accepted. It was going to take about a year because we get hundreds and hundreds of submissions. And yeah, so just be patient. If your book has been selected, if you don't hear from us for 6 months, don't think you were rejected. It could just be we haven't gotten to your book yet. All right, so I wanted to mention that as well. I always love announcing who the winner is for the next book of the month because the author finds out when you find out, and I think that's really cool. All right, so we're going to go ahead and turn the camera around and say hi to all of you. Of course, all power be to the one who really is in charge of everything. Give a round of applause to the amazing Joel Tilson, the floor director, the official floor director for the Oracle of Whimsy. He's one of the nicest persons in the world. He tolerates all of my crazy. And he very gently tries to keep us focused and centered on your questions. So if you have any questions and you feel like I'm not seeing them, turn to Joel and the floor director will make sure that all the questions wind up in the magic hat. So thank you, Joel, for that. Yeah. Hi, Anne. Good to see you here. Welcome. Tell us where you're coming from. Tell us what state you're in. Tell us what you're eating, what you're drinking, where you're coming from. This is our official brunch, and we get together once a week. We've been having this get together. Gosh, we're going on, I think, past 6 years, if I'm not mistaken, going close to 7 years that this community has broken bread together every Sunday. And yeah, I'm thinking Chuck and I will be making announcements about our upcoming trip. We're leaving the third week of April, and we were going to go to France, but we've changed our schedule up because we looked at everything we wanted to do, and we came to the conclusion that we were going to do something entirely different. But anyway, so I'm going to wait for Chuck to announce it, but we have planned the whole trip, which is great when you've planned the whole trip, right? It's like, oh, okay, well, that's taken care of. Yeah, so we're excited about that. We're excited about that. Why is China? I imagine they're allies. Excuse me, they're allied against the West and trade routes. It's always about trade routes. There is no other subject than trade routes. All they care about is getting their trade out. Competing trade and making sure that you're not blocking their trade. You're not going to block their trade, but they're going to block your trade. So you have embargoes, blockades. But there's a new way of doing things. There's a new paradigm, which is the Oasis paradigm, where Oasis zones are going to be built in conflict zones, we believe. Yeah, I think that that's the future. Proud that I was a part of it. And I think China and Iran will be very different places in the next coming years. I don't think that she's going to stay in power for much longer. You know, I just don't think she has much of a future in China because they need somebody to blame and for a lot of their economic woes. Even though part of it is not part of it was COVID. But hopefully we're going to see a major change. I think that China's going to collapse. That's my prediction based on my remote views because, like Rome, they extended their border too far. And when you do that, you produce a lot of enemies. And then if you are not economically solvent, if you aren't able to take care of yourself, and you keep expanding outward, thinking that the good times are going to roll and that you're going to keep having all this money coming in from selling crap to Americans and everybody else, and then all of a sudden, excuse me, something hits like COVID, and it all comes crashing down. But you've still got bills to pay. This is kind of what happened to Donald Trump, right? He was spending all of his money to keep the doors open in his golf courses that nobody was going to. It was like he wanted his own private golf course in New Jersey. He wanted a golf course in Florida, right? So he buys these places so he can go play golf, but they're not making money. Many of them are not making money. So he's constantly looking for money to pour into these bottomless pits, which are his properties like Durango, et cetera, et cetera. Excuse me. Just a minute. Hi, Mila. All right. Oh, I just needed another tissue. Something's making me cough, so I think I inhaled another hair of my cat in addition to my cold. Oh, well, what can you do? All right, let's see what's going on. What's everybody eating and drinking? What are you people up to? Cold remedy. Yeah, this is a cold. I have a cold. Yeah, I've just been drinking a lot of tea, a lot of water. Uh, yeah, I think everybody has it. It's that, everybody's got it. Hi, Debbie. Hi, Jess. Good to see you. Hi, Tammy. Hello, my love. Taro is here. Christy. Lynn is in the house. Hello, loves. Hi, Shari over at Facebook. Nisi is in the house. Richard is in the house as well. Great to see you here, as is Deborah. Hello, Kabrina. We got some nice people coming in here. Ooh, eggs, Black Forest bacon, sourdough with butter, and orange marmalade. Well, that sounds like a heck of a lunch. That our breakfast. I guess that would be technically a brunch. Don't you just love the smell of brunch when you go into a cafe that has a ladies' brunch, like Mother's Day brunch, and it's got this beautiful smell, and you can hear Bach playing in the background or Mozart. I just love that experience. You can smell the bacon frying, and I love the smell of that when you come in, and the coffee. And it's just got and you can hear the nice classical music go. I just love those sorts of places. Sourdough, of course, is the best bread of all. And I would want to get some fruit with that. I might do like a freshly squeezed orange juice or a small bowl of fruit. Just that would be the one thing I would change about that breakfast, maybe. And I might replace the bacon with yeah. And I might replace the eggs with some sauteed mushrooms. You guys ever tried that? Those of you who don't do well with eggs, just like to say, you know what, instead I'm just going to do a bunch of sauteed mushrooms. You might want to put some tofu in that also and have that be your egg replacement. Oh, hi, Colleen. Good to see you here. Imhurst is in the house. Hello, love. Oh, you're in Florida now. Okay. Oh, yeah. So, interesting. What's that like, Central Florida right now? I wonder. Hi, Ann. Good to see you here. Well, oh, Upper Michigan. Yeah, finally, we're getting a break from those cyclones and everything. What do they call those? Hi, Attic. Good to see you. Western Massachusetts is in the house. Yes, we want to see an end of abuse. We want to see buffer zones. We have buffer zones, but the difference, Colleen, is that a regular buffer zone can be a hostile. And then the other problem with war, like if you're looking at the zone in Kashmir, which is probably one of the most hostile in the world, there's no give. They're going to try and take your side, and you're going to try and take their side. So the buffer zone doesn't resolve anything. The buffer zone does not diminish the hostilities, and some would argue it makes things worse because it separates people and does not focus on creating a unified community, which if you did that and made it economically solvent would collapse the hostilities in a relatively short, probably 1 to 2 generations. If I did my dissertation right. So the focus becomes, how do I get in the Oasis? My life sucks. I don't want to fight anymore. I want to get a job in Oasis because they pay better, right? So everybody tries to get into the Oasis. Well, you can't get into the Oasis because we only take the best and the brightest. Well, I could be the best and the brightest. Are you sure about that? So it becomes a place of peace, but it also becomes a place for the best and the brightest to hail in this new transformation, this new economy, this new trade route, which will expand to all oases all over the world. And that's a vision that many people have had, and it's happening now. Zelensky is trying to form one in the Donetsk. So in another 2 generations, all the money will be poured into peace and unity on the border. We're never going to agree on who owns the Donetsk, but maybe we can build an oasis zone between Russia and Ukraine and see about coming together to make that an economically viable project. So what happens after 20 to 40 years is that I'm invested in peace, right? We got to pull this off because all my money is in the oasis. And if you have an equation like that, peace is inevitable. That's basically why Zelensky adopted the model, and I'm very happy about that. And I truly believe, and I believe with perfect faith that I am right, and that this is the answer for that we've been looking for. And I would encourage anyone who's living on a hostile border to check out Oasis One protocol and see if we can't start building peace. All right, you guys. Yay! Peace. We like peace. I think what we're going to do now is, if my cough doesn't interrupt us, we're going to do the empath's prayer, and then we can blitz away. Of course, we'll keep saying hi to everyone as we go along. I love China too. Have you gone yet, Chiro Baskak? Have you gone? I hope you will go because it's an amazing experience and it will change your life. And yeah, it's just an amazing place to visit. And yeah, love China too. I crossed China. I crossed the country meeting people. You know, anthropologists. My sister wanted to go on all these tours. What the hell is that? You're going to go on tour? I can't. My sister and I are very different. She goes in these group tours like Rick Steves, and they all stay in this controlled group, and they go from one controlled area to one controlled area. And then they say, I've gone to that. No, you didn't go to that country. You went on a tour. I go to the country. So she will go to the tour, and I will slip on some incognito clothing, and I'll start jumping on buses, and I'll just sit in the back of the bus in Beijing. And at first people stare at me like, there's an American on this bus. And I just sit back and I just ride the buses. Just sitting back here riding the buses, and I'm just watching people, and I'm watching where well, this is the last stop. Well, then I guess I'll just get on another bus. And I did that the entire time I was in China. And I would just get on the subway and say, I would ride the subways as far as I could, and then I would jump out. Or in the middle, I would just jump out and find new neighborhoods and just walk around and look at things and walk through markets. And of course, people would be confused. They're like, what's an American doing here? Like, this is not part of the tour. And to me, that's what it is to travel. Oh, I had great experiences. A lot of people were frightened for me. Why are you here? I'm like, I wanted to see it. But this is a new settlement on the outskirts of Beijing. Nobody comes here. Yeah, but I just thought it would be cool. They look at me like, how did you get here? And then I was walking down. It was just new buildings, like a new suburb. They're just new suburbs, right? And then I was walking around that subway stop, and across the street there was a place that was dumplings. And so I walked across the street, and they had never seen an American. They were like, you're in our dumpling place? This is not part of the tour. And I was like, I want to see what you folks eat. And they're like, okay, well, we'll give you some. What's he eating? What's he eating? What's he eating? I'm supposed to point, but it's like, what's that? What's that? What's that? Well, that's the braised That's the braised bok choy. I'll try some bok choy. I'll try some blackened tofu, which is blackened with black forest mushrooms. Delish. You just tell them you're a Buddhist and they'll make you a vegan plate. But, and they had Buddhist friendly, have you guys had these soup dumplings yet? Soup dumplings. They have like vegetables in them and miso or some. You bite them and then you suck out the soup and then you eat them. And it has like shredded vegetables and like a sour broth. And you eat it with this blackened vinegar. It's so good. I just walked into the place. It was in the middle of nowhere, and it was it was the most delicious meal I'd had in China. It was just a hole in the wall that served vegan dumplings, and they had a menu for Buddhist. So yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, you guys got to go. You guys got to go. All right, let's go ahead and blitz away. Joel, the floor director, has been kind enough to help us out today and give us the questions ahead of time. So let's take a look at what he's got for us. First question coming in: will America make a deal with China and supply them with oil instead of Russia? We supply a lot to China, food, protein processing plants owned by like Smithfield. A lot of that stuff is China run. Let's take a look. China purchasing oil from the United States in the future. Look, if Russia is willing to create peace zones, then why would we have a problem with Russia? The problem is solved. We can stop the sanctions because there's a lot of great stuff about Russia. We don't have to be at war with Russia. Let's build peace zones. Okay, great. So you agreed to the peace zones in Donetsk. Okay, so we can stop fighting. See how simple this is? We don't want to keep going on and on and on sanctioning Russia and sanctioning China, right? All right, China purchasing oil from the U.S. Yeah, I'd like to see it just end. I'd love to have a friendly relationship with Russia. I'd like to vacation there. I've had friends visiting Russia that say it's amazing. We don't want to fight with Russia, right? I'm seeing communication happening and negotiations back and forth. You can see that travel. So I'm assuming that's like communication about issues of peace. So you have people going back and forth, positions of peace, and then offers of work. So, excuse me. So it could be a situation where we give them oil and they give us something in return. So there's work for both of us. And then we have this emperor, strong leadership. It would cool a lot of the animosities. It would cool a lot of the animosities about Taiwan. Yes, new contracts are coming in with China, the United States and China, which will be beneficial to both parties. They are not open to an Oasis in Mongolia and any other areas that could become potentially hot spots, for example, fighting over it with Russia. So they're not open to Oasis in their own country. I don't see that here. But we can see this great union happening here with the 10 of Cups, travel, and then again here, chariot to establish peace. And then hopes and fears, dirty money. Or bribing people, right? Dirty money or bribing people and trying to avoid a war. There's still a potential for war and hostilities. So I can't guarantee that things are not so bad that we're not looking at potentially an attack of Taiwan. Is America weakened by this war? And if so, can we then go in and take Taiwan? Because you're so busy over here with Iran. Well, so we'll just move in. At that point, you have a real problem, right? So trying to appease China and the world so that it doesn't, to take the weapons of war. So we have to make an economic deal with China. Yeah, but I'm not opposed to that. I think most people are not opposed to that. People don't want to go to war with China. They want human rights for the people that live in the United States, and they want human rights for the people who live in China, but they don't want to go to war with China. I think Chinese people, from my experience, very committed to their families. That was my experience. Just very everything they do. We Americans are a little bit less like that. When we do something, we usually think about ourselves first. That's kind of the Western way. We feed ourselves first. We take care of pocketing my money first. Whereas what I found when I was in China, just being around regular people in China, having meals with them, is that every action at the forefront of their mind is, how will this affect my family? Like going grocery shopping, how will I feed my husband and my children with this amount of, like, everything was focused on my family, like me as part of a unit, my obligations to my family. And family is much bigger. Like, I also noticed that people live in large groups, like that new housing development that I got to visit and talk to the people was whole entire groups, like 18 people, 20, like there tend to be much wider understanding of what family is. So it's you and your wife and your brother and his wife and their kids and the grandkids and the uncle and the aunt and their kid. Like it's a much they like to be around each other. Like, I think the other thing I've noticed about the United States is that we don't necessarily like our families. We try to get away from our families. You got family in New Jersey, so you move to DC or somewhere. Whereas what really struck me about life in China, especially in the villages, when I visited the villages, was that people were so committed and felt such an obligation to their families that they stayed in the same unit of like 20, 30, whatever people. And they built something that was solid. And I think that if you do that, it probably is better economically. It's probably something that would help you economically, because you would have decades and decades and decades of everybody thinking in terms of what's best for the unit, what's best for the family, even to the point of everybody in the family putting money towards buying a new couple's apartment, for example, so that they can stay together. I mean, it's just really cool. I don't think I've ever seen that. I haven't seen it that pronounced in any other country that I've been to. I mean, like, families like to live together in villages and stuff, but I've seen that also in the Latino community, but I've never seen it to that degree as I did in China, where it's like a corporation, and everything is discussed like like everybody is just very committed to everybody else. I think there's something to learn from that. Will Iran's missile and drone industry being destroyed affect Russia's war with Ukraine? I think that it's very obvious to me that the people that voted for Oasis and want Oasis zones have been talking to Zelensky about the new model. I think that's fairly obvious. And I think that the powers that be that were backing Russia in the past, or saying, "Come on, Wims, we can all get along." Those people that were talking like that have now come to see things differently, and they've come to realize that that Putin is an impediment. First off, because he probably is one of the people responsible for October 7th. I don't know what the hell he was thinking. Did he think we weren't going to survive and then come back and get him? But if you're looking at, this is the Oasis, but it's been, the corporate world invested in it, right? So this is how far they've gotten, right? This is the map. And it's exactly how I thought it was going to go down, which is that you had the two main people that were interested, which was the American government and Elon, buying out that western side and parts of the north. This is what the map eventually became. I have nothing to do with the blue maps. That's Trump's fantasy, right? But this is kind of this is the real map. Yeah. I don't know who leaked it originally. I don't know who leaked it, but it was leaked. And when it got leaked, I had a lot of people contacting me asking if I was happy with this. I'm a little concerned about the American data safe haven because one of the things I wrote in my dissertation is don't leave any sensitive data at the Oasis. So I don't know what the hell that is. It's in zone 2, I believe, because if you look at 4, Gaza infrastructure rebuild, that's Kerem Shalom. And to the left, you can see Elon's red dot. That's the water supply. And that's something that he's done in the past. For example, making sure there was clean drinking water in Michigan when the water was contaminated, putting in clean drinking water that was solar cleaned. That was Elon's program. So I think he was smart enough to say, right now it's undrinkable. So they have an aquifer, but it's been severely damaged in that area. So if the Oasis can rehabilitate that aquifer, it would be very helpful in terms of supplying clean drinking water to the people of Gaza. So that red dot is pretty gosh darn important. Oh, they're going to have their own airport. That makes sense so that they can enter into zone 1. You see that star there? That's zone 1. So we've come a long way, baby. Is that what they say? We come a long way, baby. Yeah. So I'm thinking that I'm going to win. Don't you guys think I'm going to win? You guys have to have faith in me. That I'm going to win. That peace will reign. You have to get the people with money to build it, which means you've got to make deals with people you may not like. And that's, I think, been difficult for people to reconcile themselves with, because the people that are, so that's why as lefties, as peace activists, we have to do everything in our power to make sure that the original concept remains. This is the original map. This is, by the way, this little tiny humble little map that was sketched by me is now officially a historical document, which blows my mind. This is how it started, babe. This is how it started. So let's take a look. Will Iran's missile and drone industry be destroyed? Affect Russia's war with Ukraine? Let's take a look. The fire horse. One of the things that we've talked about is that this is the time of the fire horse. It comes every 60 years. The horse carries a rider. Excuse me. And the rider, I think the rider is Oshun, the goddess Oshun, because I think that we're seeing the entering of the reign of Oshun, which is I believe a 2,000-year period when the feminine divine rises, which began in Venice during the time of the Renaissance, when Venice rose, right? So the beginning of the Renaissance was the beginning of the feminine divine power entering the earth, and it reigns for 2,000 years. And it was the beginning of the end for the time of Ogun, which is the god of metal, who came in during the Iron Age, Bronze and Iron Ages, forging metal, and stayed up until the Middle Ages, the Dark Ages, and has been slowly replaced by this new subtle energy which promotes art and theater, Mozart, the music, the higher thinking, because Ogun did his work. The hard work was done, and now we can enjoy the subtle arts of music and the life of the courtesan, right? Playing music and this singing songs and entertaining, right? So that was the courtesan. That is the energy of Oshun, right? So we say that Oshun is the rider, but the Knight of Wands is a fiery horse who brings war and purification. So we definitely see the war coming, that fire horse coming in. And the opposition is the Queen of Cups. Loving, emotional, and peaceful is the opposition. Yamaya in the African tradition, the goddess of the sea. Hopes and fears. King of Wands. I keep smelling people. Every time I give readings, I hang out with you guys, I start to smell whatever it is you're cooking. And one of you is cooking something or is doing something that to me smells a hell of a lot like kubide, like ground beef, spicy ground beef barbecue. Like it's called kubide. It's with chopped meat. It's a Iranian dish. Is somebody here cooking some beef of some type? Smelling like almost like kubide. It's delicious. Onions and beef, maybe, or something like that. Yeah, whoever you are, can I come to your house? So King of Wands is moving in. Again, that would be the War King, and the final outcome is Ten of Pentacles. They knew this would happen, and they've got secret places where they're making drones. So this looks almost like a place where keeping secrets, the family keeps secret. The legacy, which can often be dirty little family secrets. For example, if you have a legacy of child abuse, that would fall under an inverted Ten of Pentacles. We just say it's your legacy. It's what you inherited. It's also your genetics. It has an aspect of secrecy, spying, and gossip. He's watching, they're gossiping. So again, the dark aspects of family legacy is keeping dirty little family secrets. Well, you know what he did to his daughter, and he wrote her out of the will, and then that's unfortunately one of the things you can inherit. We don't always inherit the best. So there's a dark aspect to the Ten of Pentacles. I think U.S. and Israeli intelligence will locate those targets and remove them because there's a chariot over it, and because it's all war cards. These are all war cards. He's the War King. He's Mars. And here again, Mars. So there's zero tolerance. It's going to really hurt Russia. So it goes back to what Zelensky said. Either... To me, it tastes like kubide. Kubide also has like a sour flavor, like they put a little lemon juice in to the chopped beef. So there's a little bit of a lemon, za'atar, oregano, salt, pepper, and then they lay it on flat iron. And then they fry it and turn it, and then it's eaten on a bed of Persian rice. That's what I'm smelling right now. It's driving me crazy. Whoever you are, take me to lunch. All right. How is Trump's health overall? I don't know. I'm thinking not that good. You guys, what do you think? Do you think his health is okay? Well, I don't like his politics, and I think he might have done some really terrible things in the past, but we don't want people to suffer. We're nice Jewish Buddhist people, right? But let's take a look. It has gotten increasingly difficult for me to cover up my imperfections. So this is how I feel as Trump. When you're young and sexy, you can put on a smart suit, you can put on a nice, you got your nice hair, you got your nice suit, and you can flirt with the ladies and you can pull it off. But as the body begins to weaken and things begin to fall apart, it's much harder for you to cover. You got to have someone putting you in a girdle. You've got to put on a bunch of makeup, maybe do a facelift, right? Get some work done, like he had plugs put in for his hair, right? And I just feel that I'm not able to look put together anymore. Or if he has some people that say he has a colostomy bag, that they've smelt stuff that make him think he has a colostomy bag. It's hard for me to cover all. I just feel like I can't cover it all up. Also, I present as the fool. So I feel also like I'm just falling apart. Like I don't smell quite as good as I used, as fresh as I did in my 20s. Like I like I've got a thing coming off my neck. It looks like shingles, or it could be to remove a basal cell or an actinic keratosis. Who knows, right? Skin tag. Who knows, right? But this guy is just not doing too good. His opposition is a little frightening because his house of opposition is the Two of Swords, and that would indicate that he's in denial to some extent. I also emotionally, it's his emotions come up as a big issue. Queen of Cups becomes the issue. What that would be emotional or dreamy, and he's the number one issue for him right now in terms of his constituents is explaining why he supported a foreign war after promising that there would be no foreign war. So they're back and forth with finances, rocky waters. I feel like I have to explain myself. Heart disease, coronary artery disease remains a major factor in his card chart. I've always seen that as the number one priority. People are he fears being forgotten. He fears that JD Vance is young and attractive and that people are moving towards JD Vance, who is the number one person that people want with Turning Point. And Republicans, they've lost interest in Trump. It feels to me like everybody's now, well, what about JD? So you're old news, man. You're old news. You got us into that war. And I feel like he the Wicked Witch of the West has lost his power. And instead I feel that, see, the job goes to somebody else because his house of opposition is the Page of Pentacles. And that would indicate to me that somebody else got the job. And I feel, as Trump, as an empath, I feel embarrassed. I feel foolish. I feel like no amount of effort is going to make me look better. I feel crumply and I feel like my clothes are crumply. I look like a mess. The very thing that I complain about. I don't want to do business with someone that doesn't present themselves in a sharp, attractive manner, right? The devil's in the details, right? God is in the details, he says, right? So he is now becoming the thing he detests, sloppy. I feel sloppy. I feel like I'm a sloppy guy and a fool, and somebody else got the job. And my biggest problem is denial. I refuse to admit I have a problem. Emotional instability, also hopes and fears, emotional instability, back and forth, possibly with constituents. Like, also, that's a con artist card. Loss of power, like nobody takes me seriously anymore. I feel like I will walk out of the presidency. I still feel this. It still comes up the same way. Heart disease was the main factor, but this mental decline thing, this is like when you just are incapable. Hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. It still shows him resigning. That he will not be able to complete his presidency this term because of health crisis. Is Netanyahu in danger? Well, the worst security breach in Israeli history happened under his watch. And Vladimir Putin was partly responsible, we think, for the attacks that took place on October 7th. Meanwhile, Netanyahu was completely taken by surprise. He seemed to not know that Putin was trying to kill us. But Putin's my friend, which goes to show how out of touch with reality Netanyahu was. So why people would want to vote him back into office. We don't vote directly for the PM, we vote for the political party, and he happens to be the first seat. So because he's the first seat, he gets to be the prime minister, right? So Naftali Bennett is pushing, but a lot of people are conflating his being strong. I'm gonna vote for Netanyahu because he's strong. He's not strong. Netanyahu got us all killed on October 7th because of huge security lapses. Never mind sexism in the IDF, where they were throwing reports. The women were reporting we're about to be attacked, and they were smacking them on the ass and saying, "Come on, you're just a little piece of ass. I don't have to listen to you." They were throwing all the data in the trash and laughing at them. You don't know what you're talking about, little woman. I wrote a paper. I did research on it, and I wrote papers on it, by the way, if anybody wants to read those articles, about how sexism is a national security threat. And just as sexism is a national security threat in Israel, sexism is a national security threat anywhere where you have sexism, because if you put women in the military and you train them, say, for example, to be looking for terrorism, but you don't believe anything that comes out of their mouth because women cannot be witnesses, right? Because of cultural biases against women, then what you've done is you've basically created the perfect storm to get people killed. And that's what happened on October 7th. You can take a look at this article I wrote in the Times of Israel, but also Medium. I put it in my Medium as well. So here it is, if you guys want to check that out, about how, look at the data. Female warnings. We're about to be attacked. We're about to be attacked. Here's the evidence. Oh, you're a woman? Off to the trash it goes. And that's what happened. So that became the security. That was the security. You're looking at the security faults here, the security breaches. Because the blue is men reporting and the red is women reporting. And as you can see, when a man reports, it's taken seriously. And when a woman reports, she's told she's crazy and we don't have to listen to her, and she's just a little whatever. And what happened was you had women on the wall that were trying to warn people. There were lookouts on the wall with Gaza, and nobody was listening to them. So there has been this campaign called Israel Girls, right? And the purpose of this campaign was to show the world how unbelievably sexy Israeli soldiers are. And as a result of that campaign, what we've started to see is a rise in sexual assault of Israeli female soldiers. And I would argue, and my argument was, that by hypersexualizing Israeli girls, you've turned them into prostitutes instead of trained military officers. And that's what they did. They thought that they were helping Israel by doing this. Look at how beautiful our women are. But that's not what happened. What happened is they became prostitutes. So here we have a typical example of some of this media outlet that's been this media to promote the sexy IDF. She's going to come and have sex with you. She's going to show you a good time. She's going to rock your world. She's going to give you a lap dance. So you don't have to take her seriously when she is reporting to Israel, we are about to be attacked. Warning, warning, we're about to be attacked. Oh, come on. I've seen your TikTok videos, right? I've seen those TikTok videos. I know that I don't have to take you seriously. I don't have to take you seriously because you're not a person. You're not a fellow Israeli officer. You're not someone whose testimony is the same as the testimony of a man. No, what you are is sex. You're going to give me some sex, your tits and ass. And that's exactly what we see in this campaign, right? We see Israeli soldiers being hypersexualized. And that has nothing to do with making sure that people don't get attacked when Hamas is threatening the border. So research was done to find out if, because it was all women, it was all women scouts that were on top of the wall trying to make sure we weren't attacked. And what they found, what I and other people found, was that there was in fact a bias. That 40% of the intelligence was being tossed in the trash. And there was an explosive rise in sexual assault, genital assault, sexual assault of female soldiers as a result. The campaign was leading people to think that these soldiers were sex objects. And you can see the rise in sexual assault, sexual harassment, and it was buried. This group, the Hal Oz, was reporting that they were being sexually molested and abused. Talk about hell. Here you are trying to keep your country from being invaded by terrorists, and every time you go to report, you get sexually assaulted instead. And so they started reporting, we're being sexually harassed, and no one's taking our data seriously. And you can see here what was happening prior to October 7th. And so what we learned from this experience is that prior to October 7th, we already had a problem with intelligence being tossed in the trash. They were called hysterical kindergartners. Little girl, you're just imagining things. That's not a terrorist. That's just a farmer with a pitchfork. So I'm going to put you on potato duty peeling duty. If you keep that up, little girl, you're like a little hysterical kindergarten. You didn't see that. You didn't see you didn't see terrorists. No, you did not. You did not see gaslighter, right? You're not seeing what you're seeing. You're imagining it. You're a hysterical kindergartner. So the first people killed when the terrorists came over were those women, and they were screaming. They would not leave their desk because they were loyal and trying to do their job. They died at their desk screaming, security alert, security alert. They died reporting. They stayed there and they did their jobs, and they died with honor. They were raped and killed and shot at their desk. Because of this sexist crap that we see happening in Israel under Netanyahu and his reign of terror in Israel. So it didn't just become a security threat for the rest of the world, it became a security threat for Israelis themselves, because that's what happens with sexism. That's what happens when you engage in these policies of hypersexualization of your soldiers, and you stop respecting them, and you stop respecting the intelligence that they're reporting. At that point, they're just a prostitute. And why would you take anything they have to say seriously, right? So I've been trying desperately, as if I've got time for this stuff. But I've been trying desperately as a feminist to draw attention to, please take down these TikToks. You're not helping Israel. You're not helping our security. You're putting us in danger. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop putting this stuff up there, because it's getting people killed. There is a correlation between minimizing, trivializing, debasing, and discarding somebody's testimony for sexual harassment, pressuring them to be a sex toy, and the security breaches we see in October 7th. And we've now encouraged investigations into other security breaches in the IDF, never mind the fact that women are getting raped and tortured and everything else that's come out. But we're now seeing that there were security gaps in other bases, in other situations. Mucho macho men, right? Mucho macho men getting us all killed, right? So those are some of the fun things you get to do when you're a feminist dealing with idiots in the Middle East. All right. Is Putin still in charge, or has he been purged? I don't think he's been purged. Let's take a look. It's the Middle East. Israel is the best for women's rights, right? We're 80 out of 147 countries for women's rights. When Golda Meir was in charge, we were 20 out of 140 something countries, right? So we've slipped from 20 to 80. And Netanyahu was a huge part of that, because he's been promoting right-wing religious extremists who think the earth is 6,000 years old. So they're so far gone in their own fantasy world, they have no conceptual understanding that their worldview and their sexism is actually getting us killed. They don't have the intellectual capacity to put the pieces together. All right, we're checking for Putin. Completely confused. He has no idea. I feel as Putin, like this whole thing like this ran away from me. Like I've lost control. I feel it. I don't know what to do. I feel like I've lost control. My opposition is strong. Damn. I don't know what to do. Like I didn't think they were going to attack, and there's bombs. I don't know what to do. I know what to do. I know what you should do, Mr. Putin. You should build an Oasis zone in the Donetsk. Then we can stop all this, and we can invest in integration and cooperation, and then you'll make money and die being a great peacekeeper, and it will clean up your legacy, which is horrible right now. That's my idea, but what do I know? Hopes and fears, the star. The Star-Spangled Banner, right? Final outcome, he's in the grave. He's finished. Damn, buddy. Well, he's been given a choice. Either build Oasis zone, and then maybe one day we can merge you with the Abraham. He wants a piece of the Abraham Accords. Iran wants a piece of the Abraham Accords. Well, if you want a piece of the Abraham Accords, you're going to have to build Oasis zones, because that's the model. You have to build an Abraham's tent. And that means you're going to have to work out and cooperate with Zelensky, right? So you have this unbelievable confusion. His enemy, House of Opposition, is strong. He fears the star. I would assume that's the United States, the Star-Spangled Banner. The star is our symbol for our flag. And then the final outcome, he's in the grave, would be bad. It's also a holding pattern. His clarification, things are moving very rapidly and he's out of his game. He doesn't appear to know what's happening. His opposition, huge transformation taking place. Double major arcana, hope and fear that it all comes crashing down. His economy's completely wiped out. His final outcome, he will be betrayed by his own. If he was responsible for October 7th or participated, eventually the Israelis will take him out. And that's probably what's going to happen. You got Israelis embedded high up in the Iranian government, and you've got Israelis high up in positions of power spying for the Israelis in Russia, right? So I don't think he has a choice. He's either going to build Oasis. It's very obvious to me and very obvious to you if you've been watching this channel for a while that there's only one choice, that nobody's going to stop the Abraham Accords. They will plow through your country in order to build that new trade route. So I think that, lucky for me, right? Elon and everybody else that invested in the rebuild of Gaza has started to see the wisdom of what I was saying, which is that you have to have a phase 4. You have to remove Putin because you're not going to get to this place as long as you've got somebody there getting together with Hamas and organizing terrorist attacks. And so he's not a team player. They will remove him because they're not going to stop this rebuild. You know. Yeah. Okay, let's open up the floor to some questions. Let's see how people are doing here. How you guys doing? You guys okay? Oh, we've got somebody in Atlanta. Very nice. Hollywood. Lovely. Ooh, Tennessee is in the house. Oh, yum, 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 yum. We saw that. Delish, delish. Oh, yes, she was in Florida. Very nice. And New York is in the house. Of course, Anne is here. I'm so glad that weather finally. Yeah, a buffer zone, but we need more. We need Oasis. We need to change hearts and minds. That's what Elon says. We got to change hearts and minds if we want to end war. It's not enough to. Well, he wasn't always crazy. He used to not be on drugs. He used to be a Democrat. I'm trying to get him to be a Democrat again. I'm trying to lure him back, right? We got to lure him back and get him to stop hurting his daughter. China's industry is fully subsidized by the and can't go on with their debt. Yeah, exactly. So for that reason, it's probably a good idea for them to work with the Americans. Julian Dory, ex-CIA. Oh, very nice. I haven't checked that out. Me too. It's good for my stomach when I'm getting over this horrible norovirus. I've been, yeah, it helps. Oh, hello, Nova Scotia. I am feeling better, but boy, it went on. I thought that I was like dying of some rare disease. I always do that. I'm such a typical, naturopathic doctor. I'm always thinking, oh, this looks good. Bacon, scrambled eggs, and English muff with a cuppa. Ooh, Phoenix. Yummy, yum, yum. Sounds absolutely divine. I don't do well with eggs. They give me headaches. And also the nitrates in bacon, that gives me headaches. I don't know. Do you guys ever get a slight headache after you eat that stuff? Or is it just me? Oh, thank you. That's very nice of you. Bacon. Have you tried the tempeh bacon? It's actually really good. No? Am I like the only one that likes tempeh bacon? My ex-husband got me into tempeh bacon. Chicken street. Oh, that sounds lovely as well. No, we always get a snowstorm in April. It's just I don't know why, but we always do. We always get one good dump. Oh, Denmark, very nice. Gosh, got nice people in Florida out there. Very nice. All right. Um, will religions change once we have ET immersion? I think a religion will change because of Oasis. Breeds tolerance, right? So you can't get into Oasis if you're an extremist. You have to agree to be tolerant. So tolerance becomes the norm because the money is invested in tolerance. You see how smart that is? See, that's why Oasis is smart. All right, ETs. Let's see what the ETs are up to. We are being watched by something. Some call them angels, some call them demons, some call them ETs, but whatever the heck they are, they've been watching us, right? It's real. They're confirming that it is real, right? So we've had our governments disclose some stuff to us, which is still has me gobsmacked. Oh no, it's real. I had to take a moment when Obama said, "Oh no, aliens are real," but I don't know about us. And they, oh no, I was joking. Were you joking? Because so nothing happening right now. I feel like there are advanced beings that have been on the planet for a very, very long time that have developed technology, including cloaking, but they evolved right here on Earth. That's not to say there aren't other beings here, but I think many of them, like the Greys, probably are cave dwellers, because if you look at the physiology, we've talked about this, and there's been research by Loeb, what's his name, Avi Loeb, doing the physiology. Pharyngeal, what did he say? Pharyngeal, they suck swamp water through pharyngeal whatevers. I don't know. But what they look like is they look like bats. They have bat eyes. Have you noticed that? Their eyes look like bats. And the reason that they think that might be is because when you live in a cave, it's dark. And this is also why they have to wear goggles to protect when they come up from the cave, because it's too bright. And that's exactly the physiology that you would see in somebody that's a cave dweller, right? And the big eyes, the big bat eyes, because it's dark. So that would be the evolution of the eyes. So if you're taking a look, this would be a rendition of a gray. And then if you're taking a look at bats, if you're taking, they're so cute. I think bats are cute. But if you're looking at the physiology of a bat, you'll see the same thing. You'll see the big eyes. They're so cute. Am I the only one that thinks bats are cute? All right, so this is a cave dweller, swamp water, which they figured that they were consuming about 800 kcal swamp water through pharyngeal sifting. That's what they think. Avi Loeb out of Harvard. They've got like a whole, is it Harvard or Yale? I think he's out of Harvard, excuse me. Same thing. You've got those large black eyes in order to see. Sonar is nicely developed, right? But is that not cute? Oh my God, I think they're adorable. I want them to come live with me. I've had one land on me once when I went to a bat colony that was safe, and it's hard to. They stick to you if they don't want to leave. They're like cats. They will like. They're safe. You can go to these places where they're safe, and they will just. They cling like cats to you, but they're not going to hurt you. They don't drink blood. It's like if they're a fruit bats, it depends. I just think they're cute. Well, maybe I have strange taste. I don't know, but that's what they think about aliens. That's the yeah, evolved out of caves. All right, so there's been some confusion about what Trump said about leaders because Trump is confused. And so anything he says sounds confusing. But the reason why he's not going to accept, or the reason why the US will not accept Khamenei's son as the new leader is because we're not accepting the mullahs in general. The mullahs are not going to be in charge. So well, then we'll pick this guy. No, you all have to go. So the Iranian people have fired you. The Iranian people, you and your cult, which is the Taliban, it's just another section of the Taliban, basically. It's the same people. No, they don't want the Taliban in Iran. You got to go, and you got to go now. Well, how about this guy? We picked him from the Taliban. Well, how about this guy from the Taliban? What we're saying is, no, you're all leaving. You can go to Afghanistan. You can go to Pakistan. Maybe Russia will take you in. But you're not going to be picking the next leader of Iran. The next leader of Iran is going to be tolerant secularist, who's going to live and let live, because the fastest growing religion in Iran is Christianity, actually. A lot of Catholics, a lot of people receiving Mass and becoming Catholic, and having to do so in underground churches for fear of retaliation. So this is not what the people want. Zoroastrianism and Christianity are the leading religions growing in Iran. So if they pick somebody else, how's that going to help? It would be like if you were Church of England and the Taliban came in and well, how about this Taliban leader? How about that Taliban leader? You're not in charge of anything. Don't you get it? You've been fired. The people don't want you. They're not even Muslim, these people. They're Christians. A lot of them are Christians or Zoroaster. So why are you here? You're not representing them. They don't come from that part of the area. It's a foreign, hostile military that came in from the mountains. It's not part of the indigenous belief. It's not part of the beliefs of the people of Persia. So they were held hostage by this crazy cult, and nobody they pick, that this crazy cult picks, is going to be acceptable. That's the point. And you do have to go right now. Yeah. As an Iranian, I really hope Trump finishes the job. See? Here's somebody who's Iranian. The people protesting are not the Iranians. The people that want an end to, oh no, don't do it, don't do it. Who are you? You're not the one being oppressed. Talk to 8FEAR T8634 and they will tell you what's happening. This government is not their country. They're being held hostage by crazy terrorists. 100,000 activists slaughtered in the streets in the last couple months. So 40,000 just in the last week. If you're a feminist and if you believe in tolerance, you certainly don't want these people to stick around. Thank you for your contribution, by the way. Oh, wow. That's nice. I can't imagine that they would be stupid enough to do that when they're on the ropes right now, but let's take a look. That would be really stupid. Good question, though, Marilee. Thanks for asking it. Will Russia attack the Baltic countries? That is the question. What you folks thinking? What you folks thinking? Yes, no, maybe? Do you think that they're too overwhelmed right now? What do you think? It would be suicide at this point. They're so weak. You really want to make problems like that? You're already in enough trouble as it is. It's over. Oh, God. I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, I wish that it hadn't had to go to this point. I wish that Um, oof. It is what it is. It is what it is. I mean, there's really nothing else you can say. The math is the math. The math is the math. So if they've already started phase 5, you know they've already started phase 4. You guys get that, right? You guys are smart people. You're smart people. Do you think they would have started phase 5 if they hadn't already started phase 4? I don't. How do we know that? How do we know that phase 4 is starting? Because we saw phase 5 happening. Because if we don't isolate Putin, it becomes a nuclear crisis, right? So the fact that we are in phase 5, the fact that they've already started the rebuild phase 3 tells me that phase 5 is happening. Or phase 4, excuse me, phase 4 is happening. I don't think you can get around it. I don't think that they were planning it. This is 2023. They had the data. Look at it, 3:53 a.m. Do you see the time that I was working on this thing? Is this not somebody loyal to her dissertation? I mean, come on now. Look at that. Look at that. 3:53 in the morning working on my dissertation, right? No, but seriously, phase 4 is the math. So we can assume because all other phases have been adopted and Oasis is now being discussed as an option in Russia, that if that Putin is basically being given one choice, accept this model or he will be removed. The fact that you have a death card coming in also, just if you're into tarot cards and you don't want to look at the data, you just want to play them with tarot cards because I do both. I would say he's in a lot of trouble. Foolish actions led to death. His karma card is death. His actions foolish. If we can get, you know what? I will go down in history. No one but a handful of crazy people who watch this channel is probably ever going to know who the original author of Oasis 1 was. Nobody's going to know who I am. I will probably never get official credit for my contribution, and I am not happy about that because I would have liked to have gotten some recognition, and I would have liked to have had my hours covered. I've talked about that. Oh, well, it is what it is. But if anybody is going to win the Nobel Peace Prize for developing Oasis 1, I would be a lot less unhappy if Zelensky was the person that got that Nobel Prize. I don't want Trump to get it. I don't want Elon to get it, even though Elon was the person that put the money up. I'm sorry, Mr. Elon, but you've got crazy ideas. I do love and appreciate what he's done. Look what but I just get off the ketamine and maybe move more to the left. Stop making racist tweets, right? But no, I think it would be great if he built Oasis and got the Peace Prize. I think it'd be awesome. I think we'd all love to see that. You know, also you can experience every culture in America, right, Joel? So if I want to have Cuba Day, there's a Persian place across the street right now. I could literally go and get the Cuba Day that I'm smelling right now. Maybe I'm smelling it because they're cooking Cuba Day. I don't know. But there is a Cuba Day place down the road. So that's the great thing about America is we are very spoiled. We can eat whatever we like, right? So we have food. Most of us are able to get food. And most of us can go online and get a recipe and afford simple ingredients and pretty much have one. Kubede is not expensive, by the way. It's really not inexpensive. Got some hamburger, and you have to get the cheap. You have to get the 20% fat too, so which is the less expensive because the oil drips off it when it's on the grill. Otherwise, you're going to have a tough kubede, right? So these are not expensive. That was some rice. It's not expensive. So that's the great thing about the United States is that we get to experience all these cultures, and most of us can afford hamburger and some rice, right? So, or you can have like a potluck where everybody contributes ingredients, right? And then you can have kupite. All right. Good morning from New Zealand. Oh, good. Yeah, we don't like conflict. We don't like war. Yes, people are very angry at Starmer. Um, Keir Starmer. Yes. Did you guys see the latest on him? Let me see if I can find it. Hold on a second. He was being made love to by the ambassador for Palestine. Just being felt up and people were like freaking out about it. The people that were feeling him up is like terrorist people, so um when you're being felt up by a terrorist and when you're being made love to, how does it feel to be made love to by a terrorist? By someone promoting terrorist ideas? Well, if you want to kill people, you've got to be a good lover. You know what I mean? Yeah. So let's see if I can find the actual. Um, okay, I don't think they're showing it, but there was a point when they started rubbing up against each other, and it was just very, very strange. Let me see if I can find it. Oh my god. People are like, "What the hell?" It's funny that the body language guy is like, I gotta get weigh in on this one." Very close physically. And, he started rubbing him. He started rubbing his body. They rubbed their bellies touched. So, there's needless to say, there's a lot of people in Britain that are having completely freaking out, like, "What has happened to Britain? How is this happening in Britain? Britain sold its soul to terrorists. How could you have done this? How, have they blackmailed him? Is he being blackmailed? Is he being threatened? Why is this happening?" And that's kind of what the conversation is. Is this a threat? He certainly is all over the PM's personal space. If you don't want to be touched intimately like that, I would be thinking more that I'm being threatened with this. If it were me, I would have viewed it as a threat. You put your hands on me, you're up in my face, and you're talking about what we're going to do as a result of the United States in Iran. So, and he looks a little bit uncomfortable, and people watching were really horrified. Like, what is he threatening the PM? I was like, why is he doing this? And It's disturbing. It's disturbing when somebody who is promoting Hamas terrorism and Hezbollah is in your face and putting their hands all over you. It's like, what dirt do you have on Keir Starmer? All right, let's see. Future of Keir Starmer. I'm not a conservative. Can we just have an old-fashioned Democrat? You know, like Jimmy Carter. He had very strong opinions about Iran, right? Yeah. We can't have a Democrat like Carter, no. Those days are gone. He was a feminist. No, we can't do that anymore, no. All right, Starmer. Starmer's future. Yeah, I think his days are numbered. That just caused the Brits to go ballistic. There's a new day and a new dawn in Britain. Woo. The House of Opposition, people are confused about what's happening. Hopes and fears, the King of Wands. The final outcome for Britain. Fighting in Parliament, arguing. Look, Britain feels that it's trying to save its soul because they've had a huge influx of religious extremists from Pakistan and Iran coming in and disrupting things. Look at that. Starmer is probably not long for this world. Global criticism, too. He's probably not going to last. Oh, damn, I don't want the conservatives in. I want the Democrats to stop being crazy. I'm a Democrat. I'm labor. The answer is not to destroy labor. The answer is for labor to stop acting crazy. Go back to the original model. We don't tolerate abusive women. What the hell's happened to the Democratic Party, man? I'm seeing a strong woman come in. She's probably a conservative. Mm-hmm. I didn't change. I'm the same Democrat I was when I heard Jimmy Carter speak in 1974, whenever it was. It was 1974. I was 11 years old. And I remember, I think somebody picked me up so I could see. And I always loved Carter. Some people criticized him when he wrote the book, Israel, Peace, Not Apartheid, that he had not adequately studied the issues. But for the most part, his ideas were good ones. Integration, which is what I support. I love tofu. Yes. Oh, vegan duck. Okay, I might try that. Yeah, you can get some good vegan meals if you do decide to tour China. I'm not a vegan, but it was the only thing that I could eat. That I don't eat certain things. And then there's also Chabad Lubavitch if you eat kosher, if you want to keep kosher. So I did Chabad Lubavitch and vegan. It was okay. Oh, I had some fish. I did have some trout soup because it's cooked in the bowl. So technically kosher, right? Because it's cooked inside the bowl. It's cool. They just boil some water. You should see the size of these trouts, by the way. They've been farming trout for like 5,500 years. These trout are the size of a frickin' salmon. But they put this huge trout, boiled it in some water and threw some vegetables in, have some kind of miso broth. And it's like, you can have it. You can have it. No pork. All right. I was like, well, this is technically pretty kosher, right? It was delicious. But they warned me beforehand, bones, too many bones. Be careful, too many bones. So it was delicious, but you really had to be careful about the bones because they just put it right in there. They don't remove the bones or anything. Okay, we have a good book, If I Don't Return. Philippines. They have trees and leaves that taste bad. Oh, is that the moringa? Moringa leaves? Are you talking about moringa leaves? Oh, malunggay. Okay. Oh, yummy, yummy. I'm a veteran who was attached to the U.S. Comfort. Since there is no hospital ship to support our troops, how will this far is in huh? How will far in this war? I don't understand the question. Um, I don't understand the question. I'm sorry. I would like to Russia participating in Olympics to have competitive spirits. Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, hi, Bonnie. Welcome. Glad you're here. Um, no, no, no. It was a local group of thugs, and I think the cops know who it was. They just don't have enough evidence, which is probably very frustrating for them. But I think that they know who did it. Oh, I see what you're saying. The hospital ship. Okay, let's go ahead and fact check that because I don't think that's quite right. Let's figure this out. Um, I'd have to sign in here. Let's see here. So you were there's no hospital ship, is that right? Okay, let's see what we can find out here. Okay, let's see what answer we get. Good question. Thank you for that, Nisi T. I appreciate you. I don't think they would send troops without any kind of medical. U.S. military provides medical support for troops in such conflicts through multi-layered system, including forward medical care at bases and field hospitals in the region, evacuation to larger facilities such as Langstuhl Regional Medical Center in Germany, U.S. military hospitals abroad, hospital ships. The U.S. Navy operates 2 Mercy-class hospital ships, USNC Mercy Homestead in San Diego and UNNC Norfolk. However, recent reports indicate neither is currently deployed. Both ships were in maintenance overhaul. There have been suggestions to deploy one to Dubai for humanitarian aid to Iranians or to support regional needs, but no confirmed deployment. Some unverified social media claims mentioned activation of both ships in response to Iran, but credible sources show no active deployment there. The U.S. has significantly increased naval presence in the Middle East with aircraft carriers like the U.S. Abraham Lincoln and USS Gerald Ford for operations, but hospital ships are not reported among them for this conflict. Medical evacuations would likely use air transport to facilities like Langstuhl or U.S.-based hospitals for serious cases. In summary, while robust medical aid exists for U.S. troops, there is no publicly confirmed deployment of hospital ship specifically for forces fighting against Iran right now. The forces appears to be on land-based and regional evacuation chains amid escalation war. So we're not there yet. We don't have U.S. troops in Iran. So because we don't have U.S. troops in Iran, they're not needed at this time. We're just doing aerial assault, so it wouldn't. It's not. There are no soldiers in this war. It's just the only soldiers are the ones that are. It's just an air assault at this point. Oh, really? I didn't know that. That is interesting. I think I don't want to go around accusing people, but I have a strong hunch that they know who did it, And but you know, you have you have these problems where with the law, what is it, habeas corpus? You have to have a corpse, right? You have to have just to charge murder. So that's the problem. If you have no DNA evidence, so you may know beyond a shadow of a doubt that these are the people that did it, but have no way of doing anything about it. Let's take a look at Nancy Guthrie. Nancy Guthrie kidnapping. Slow and steady. So it's like snail. This is the card that would indicate, excuse me, things are going very slowly. The opposition is the Emperor. The hopes and fears, Six of Cups. And the final outcome is Knight of Wands. So someone could be raided in the near future. There could be a raid. I know they've already raided one house and arrested a couple different people, holding one person in jail right now, probably trying to get them to talk. Cooperation. One of the people that was arrested is going to start cooperating, which is what they need them to do. So if she makes a deal, the woman who's under arrest, who may be a part of this, if she makes a deal with the police and talks in exchange for not spending the rest of her life in prison, then that would be the point at which we see a raid. And that's probably what's going to happen. I think people are going to start talking, particularly if they're in prison on lesser sentences. That's probably what's going to happen. Yeah, appears to be the case. Russia and Iran share a lot of trade. And Russia and Iran have been allies and are part of what we call the axis of evil, right? We think about North Korea, Iran, and Russia, right? So, Kimberly, I have a live I do at 11 a.m. and then Taco Tuesdays on Tuesday at 5 p.m. and Hot Topics Thursdays, which is more gossip oriented. If you like gossip on the royal families, come to our Thursday show because it's all cray gossip. But yes, excuse me, Russia and Iran are allies, and they were working on also bringing in Turkey as part of that trade. We've talked about Nord Stream, right? Nord Stream 2. Yeah. Remember when I began this channel, we talked about trade routes and the importance of trade routes and that the wars would be fought over these trade routes. Do you remember? Y'all remember that? Those of you who are old timers that have been here since when I only had about 50 subscribers. So there's the trade route. This is Nord Stream 1. Sorry, I've got the flu. And you can see he would have moved his trade all the way from Russia to all these other countries. That was the stream that got blown up. Excuse me, that got blown up, right? So it was the West that blew it up, by the way. And so then you have what's called Turkish Stream. So we'll take a look at that as well. Good questions today, you guys. You're keeping us very engaged. Right. You can see Turkey there. You can see Greece, right? A lot of tension growing now between the United States and Greece. You can see Russia moving in, spreading its anti American propaganda. You can see that Turkey, the Black Sea, is entering through Turkey. And you also have Iran doing deals with Russia as part of this. You have the Caspian Sea and you have the Black Sea. So there was a lot of trade that was going on. So if you're looking at Russia, Turkey, and Iran, right? And if you wanted to see them on a map, okay, let's show this trade route. Trade route would look a little bit like this. You see? So you have this trade and fighting for control of the Black Sea, and you have Turkish Stream and all this oil going back and forth, and the Caucasus Mountains. That area really attracts me. I I think I must have had some past lives. Anybody else get attracted to this part of the world? Um, it's just very attractive. And the people are very beautiful. And it's just something very, it's a combination of Turkish and Russian culture and Iranian culture. They come together in the Caucasus Mountains. And also, they have a lot of longevity. But yeah, so that is, you can see because they're so close together, Iran, Turkey, and Russia, that is why there's so much trade. And so we're never going to be able to break that trade. They'll always stick together because they do they've had countless generations of doing trade together, right? So that's what's going on. Oh, Laureen McKenna, is that it? What I like about this video that was made about Lorena, I can't show you the song because we don't have rights, but they got some old film footage so that people could see. I don't know why. This is not allowing me to enlarge it. That's really weird. Huh, I don't know what's going on here. But this is old film footage of a wedding. In the Caucasus Mountains. And I always was really attracted to it. And the instruments, the horses. And I don't know why. It's not allowing me to enlarge it. Something strange going on. Here, let me try this. Oh, here it is. This is better. Nope, that's not better. It's the same thing. Oh, it's so frustrating. Yeah, look at those costumes. So this is film footage of a wedding. This is actually historical film footage of how a wedding takes place in Caucasus. There's the bride. So her husband from his village is coming, and there's going to be a big wedding, and this is the preparations for that wedding. And This is kind of what I experienced when I was in China too, is just how close families are and how they just stick together and they build these amazing lives. And I just loved everything about the imagery. I loved the horses. I loved the beauty of the people. The clothes. Here they are bringing gifts for the wedding. Those are wine to serve at the wedding and water and all that good stuff. And here are they, the bridal party. It's just really beautiful. Night Across the Caucasus. That's what it was called. Night Across the Caucasus. And yeah, when I saw that, I was just thinking to myself, that looks so damn familiar to me. That looks so familiar. Like I've done this. Like I have been there. You know what I'm saying? There's just something about it that just seems vaguely, suspiciously familiar. Okay, there we go. Now I found the right one. Sorry about that, you guys. So if you've been there, like if you've had a previous lifetime there, you know it when you look at this film footage, you just think, oh yeah, I've done that. Look at those beautiful instruments. People are so beautiful. Look at the mountains, the food, the pistachio trees, the dates, the olives, the amazing cheeses. Anybody here besides me get a connection to that? It's just really damn cool. Yeah, it's just really cool. Yeah, I don't know why. It's just not letting me enlarge it. It happens. It's wonky. YouTube is wonky. All right. What else is going on here? Okay, let me see what's going on here. Yeah, I really wanted to show it to you guys, but I can't enlarge it. It's not letting me. I'm like that. I will just keep going until I find the right video and get a way of making it big and yeah. I've watched it several times and I get pulled into it a lot. You know? I get pulled into it a lot. Like I get pulled into the imagery a lot. So that's kind of interesting. Yeah. Close some of these out. Yeah, that's part of it goes into Turkey and part of it goes into Russia and part of it goes into that's the other thing that's cool about the Caucasus Mountains is that it it blends over, you know, it blends over multiple. I'll never be able to figure this out. Now I can't find even that. I'm getting confused again. Okay. I'm trying to get you guys here finally. There we go. All right. Now you guys can watch it. All right. I just want to show a little bit of the wedding. Here's the wedding party. Wouldn't you love to attend a wedding like that? Here's the bride and groom. Here's Gosh, this is so old. This looks like it's maybe from like 1910, 1920. Here they are taking their vows. Look at the ladies in waiting. Look at her bridesmaids. So beautiful. It's a little bit of the music. What I love about it is also that he's calling the bride, he's calling the groom to come and, have this ceremony. I think that was the pre-ceremony we just saw, like where they sign the agreement and now comes the actual wedding. Look at the dancing too. The other thing that I really love about this culture is um, I love the dancing. Have you guys ever seen the Turkish dancing, the Caucasus dancing? Have you guys ever seen that? Let's see if I can show you that. It's very, 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 very beautiful. It's very, very subtle, and it's little tiny delicate steps, and all of it just looks like I've been there 1,000 times. I must have had 100 lifetimes there because I know this. She's supposed to look like she's floating, and her back is to be stiff so that she's gliding. There's the groom. You know what I also love about it? It's almost like a bird courting a ladybird. She's the ladybird, and she's doing her little subtle lady dance. Look at the shoes. And he is the male bird, and he's got to dance and strut to get her attention. Isn't that lovely? Isn't that just lovely? Yeah, so that's the dancing style they do, and they will sometimes do it in groups so that the brides, it's seen a lot at their weddings, so the bride is often entertained by they dance for her. Look, they're supposed to float. They look like they're floating. Isn't that incredible? Who here says, "Oh, I know that. That looks familiar to me. I've been there. I've been with these people. I've eaten their yogurt, right? They're big yogurt eaters, right? By the way, they have some of the highest. It is a blue zone, by the way. It is a blue zone. So there's a lot of people. I totally get why they live past 100. Why would you want to die when that's your family? Like you would want to live forever if you could live with such beautiful people, eat such wonderful food, and have such beautiful people to spend your life with. I can see why they live to 100. They really take care of each other. And it's just beautiful, just like birds floating up. They're like birds floating on water. Absolute perfection. All right, you guys, it has been fun hanging with you, having brunch. I love all that stuff, man. Yeah. Anybody here get a twinge like I've done this? Oh, yeah. I mean, like I could be here all day. I have been there all day looking at this stuff. I cannot stop. I mean, just like I just I just love everything about it. I love the courting. I love the idea of a man courting me that way, and just it's so pure and sweet, and the beauty of it and the joy of it. Here's a courtship dance. Out come the grooms. His hand is held. That, by the way, is a sign of peace. He's not grabbing his sword. So he's holding his hand up to show, I am not, if you have a rival gang, if you're going to a wedding and the two clans are fighting, you want to make sure you can see his hand, right? So they come out with their hand. See, nope, I'm not touching my sword. Nope, I'm not touching my sword either. Nope, I'm not touching my sword. Will you go on a date with me? I know you're from a rival clan, but nobody here is touching their sword. Well, in that case, since you aren't touching your sword, you may enter the dance. Isn't that sexy as hell? I love it. I love it. I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. All right, we're going to call it quits. Mount Kalish, I have had it called to my attention fairly frequently of late. Mount Kalish, I don't know what that is. All right, you guys, if you're trying to have a reading with me, please reach out to me. You can do so through Booksy, Dr. Whimsy Anderson, and I'd love to give you a reading. I'm sorry about my cold, but it is what it is. All right, be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out. We'll see you next time, everyone. I am a hopeless romantic. Bye, you guys. Bye. Thank you. Thank you, guys.